that I'm seeing all over the place, people jumping on the fact that Herman Cain has passed away to batter people over the head with stuff. But, you know, condolences to his family. There is a beautiful piece written on his website at hermancain.com. We're Heartbroken and the World is Poorer is the title of it. If you want to take a look at that, it's a sad day. However, I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things that are flying around out there surrounding this. One of them is he wasn't wearing a mask. That's a sort of focal point for the legacy media that I'm seeing today. He wasn't wearing a mask. The problem is, guys, that they've told us from the beginning that you don't wear a mask to protect yourself, that you wear a mask to protect other people. That is what we have been told about the efficacy of masks. You know, you have to wear one to protect others. Same thing as vaccines. You have to get one to, protect others. It's the same thing. So this narrative, he wasn't wearing a mask. He wasn't wearing a mask. That it just goes against everything that you've told us this entire time. Which one is it? Which one is it? Are we wearing a mask for ourselves, or are we wearing a mask to protect others? Which one is it? And obviously, more stuff followed from that because Nancy Pelosi today announced that masks are mandatory in the House now. Announcement coming shortly after Louis Gohmert has tested positive for COVID-19. Louis Gohmert frequently goes without a mask, except when he's, forced to in committee, etc. And of course, they're focusing on this again in his case today, saying that the reason why he was infected is because he doesn't wear a mask. On Tuesday, this article from BBC says, love the BBC. How about you guys? You like the BBC? They're one of my favorite outlets. I hope you can hear the dripping sarcasm coming from me. Mr. Gohmert, 66, discovered he was infected when he was routinely tested under White House travel protocol because he had been due to fly with President Trump to Texas on Wednesday, i.e. asymptomatic. He returned to his office to inform his staff in person of the positive result, wore a mask during that meeting. He gave an interview in which he pondered whether his mask was to blame for infecting him. I can't help but wonder, he said, if by keeping a mask on and keeping it in place, I might have put some germs or some virus onto the mask and breathed it in, he told Texas station KETK. He was about one of a contingent of around, 24 Republicans who were seen on the House floor without masks. But again, I thought we were wearing masks to protect other people. So if everyone else was wearing, this is the thing that I don't get. Now, despite mixed messages, they say here, early in the pandemic, public health experts now agree that wearing face coverings greatly reduces the spread of COVID-19 and is vital to controlling the infection spread. We, UncoverDC, Daniel Babinski, writer for UncoverDC.com, was censored off of Facebook for an article that we wrote, or he wrote, I should say, on the efficacy of masks, citing dozen peer-reviewed studies about masks and their efficacy and whether or not they work to prevent the spread of virus. And we were labeled fake news because our version of facts, in their eyes, don't measure up with theirs. So, of course, we're not telling the truth. We're lying. We're spreading misinformation. It's dangerous. What they're doing is absolutely dangerous. Only certain peer-reviewed studies apparently are good. Other ones are just not good. If they don't fit along with what the narrative that these big tech companies are supposed to be advancing, they're no good. You can't read that. It's dangerous to you. Dangerous to read. Just like taking a drug that is proven over and over and over in study after study after study that's coming out. Studies saying that it's ineffective having to be retracted from respected medical journals. Those studies are all wrong too. That's bad science. The only good science is the science that keeps you scared out of your damn mind. And now we have Anthony Fauci coming out today. Dr. Fauci coming out today and saying that now we should probably consider wearing goggles because mucous membranes in the eyes and all. So now it's masks and goggles. Soon, everybody's going to be going out in full hazmat. I hear you, Juan.
You know what? I'm getting better looking every day if I keep using Fauci's advice. First the mask, now the goggles. I mean, less of me to look at, so I'm getting better looking.
Right, seriously. I mean, that's how I feel. Then maybe I'll go on camera when my whole body is shrouded in some kind of fabric. I feel seriously like it. Would you wear goggles if you would, or would you just decide to stay home? What would you do, Juan?
Oh no, I'll decide to stay home at this point. At that point, I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not. I try not to follow what he's saying because obviously he doesn't know what he's talking about. First of all, so I mean, if I have to go buy something at the store and they require the mask, okay, I understand. I'll put the mask on, but as soon as that door opens and going the other way, I take it off.
Yeah.
So
it's like these people I see driving alone in their cars with masks on their face.
Oh, I saw a really good one the other day. It was like 95 degrees here in New Hampshire. The guy had a convertible. The top was down. He was going down the highway really fast with his mask on.
Oh, goodness. Listen, you know what? I'm all for individual liberty, right? If you want to wear your mask and it makes you feel safer, by all means, fine. I am totally against these mandates and fines for not doing it. You know, why am I mandated to wear a costume, in quotes, right? You're in the free state there.
Yes.
So be free. I mean, listen, it's up to everybody's discretion. The virus is, it is a virus. It is out there. It is getting people sick. Okay. That part and the part where you say this is ridiculous. He's also suggesting, as of what I was reading a few minutes ago on Mr. Producer, I should call you. He's suggesting that we now also wear masks during flu season. So all year round.
Wow. Okay.
We're never going to see our faces ever again in this
Exactly.
country.
You know, I tell you what, I mean, I'm in the business of customer service on my other job. And it is so hard for me to have a mask on and for the customers to have a mask on and not be able to tell if they're smiling or they're mad. I mean, I'm supposed to give them a warm, fuzzy feeling because kind of their lives are in my hands, right? So
it's true. Are you allowed to talk about what you do or no?
Well, no, yeah. What I do, yes. So I do fly for a living for a major airline. That I can say. I cannot tell you what airline it is because they don't let me. But
Hopefully better off not saying.
Yeah, I'm one of those pilots that like to talk to people, and I once I do all my checks and all that kind of stuff, I stand in front and I talk to the passengers as they go by, so they know that hey, so they know who's flying the airplane. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Do you have do you ever do like stand-up routines?
I actually do.
Oh, I love it.
I actually do. Yeah.
It can't get any better than this.
Yeah, I mean, there's, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that are afraid of flying. And the best thing a pilot can do is just stand in front of everybody and say, this is who I am. This is what we're going to do. And throw a couple more jokes in there. And, hey, they calm down. They get very at ease. And I got so many compliments about doing that I can continue to do it. But now it's hard with the mask on. So I'm going to have to come up with new jokes.
You have to make your eyes smile more.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's what it is. And, just, I love that. Do that again. I love talking to people. It makes my show, feel more bouncy.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come on in whenever you want.
Thanks.
Anytime.
Thank you.
We're going to move on now from this virus. My head's going to explode. We're going to start talking about Bill Barr, and we're going to do some of the hearing from the other day, even though you guys have probably been saturated with it. There's a couple points I want to make on that. So get ready to push buttons, Mr. Producer Juan, because
yes, ma'am.
All right, cool. And there's just live chats going on. The show is being streamed right now everywhere on planet Earth. Clout Hub. It's being streamed on Periscope. It's being streamed on YouTube, on Facebook, on our website at UncoverDC. Are you streaming it too, Juan?
Yes, ma'am. Sure are.
And give everyone your website because it's fantastic.
Oh, our website is rightamericamedia.com.
Yeah, and it's also on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 FM, and WSMN.live, in case you guys don't know where to find it. But I'm reading the tweet here, the comments here, and I'm seeing somebody talking about my audio. And I will let everybody out there know that this will sound just as crisp as Juan does, probably by next week's show, right?
Yes, definitely by next week's show, we'll have you set up with new equipment on your studio, and it'll sound like you are right here in front of me.
Yes.
Or you can move to New Hampshire and you can do the show from me.
I would love to. New Hampshire is a great state. I love it up there. Yeah, maybe I'll consider that.
Live free or die. Live free or die.
Live free or die is right. So, let's start some bar. We'll start here. So, the Mueller report is still being brought up by the left. Now, you remember back in the day, they wanted him to declassify everything in the grand jury testimony. They wanted everything. Transparency for the American people. They wanted literally everything. The reason why they don't unredact or release even grand jury testimony is because let's say you go in front of the grand jury and you're innocent of any crime, but they're kind of poking and prodding around and they're asking you, did you go down to your neighbor's house at 12:30 p.m. on Friday and hang out with your neighbor's wife? And then you're like, oh, gee, I'm under oath. Yeah, I did. But if my wife finds out, I'm in deep trouble. You know, these are the types of things that come out that are not criminal, but they're embarrassing. Sometimes embarrassing private things come out in grand jury testimony. And if that stuff, not only that, but if you're testifying and you're telling the truth about somebody else and then they find out, it's just a nightmare. If they start releasing grand jury information, it would be a nightmare for the justice system in this country. Nobody would want to be honest in front of a grand jury ever again. It's a chilling effect on the whole process. So that is just a by standard rule is never, ever released to the public, ever. And they wanted that. And now they're belly aching about the Mueller report still not being completely unredacted. And Bill Barr had said in the past that the reason why was because some of the stuff was still being used in ongoing investigation. I believe there were some Roger Stone sections that were more declassified and released, given that his sentence has been commuted. But Juan, let's play clip 1. About the Mueller report coming from the Barr hearing the other day.
Quote of his report. It was issued about a month before you released the redacted portion of the Mueller report. But you set the stage. You set the stage such that the special counsel objected to the accuracy of how it was reported by the press and what you said. And federal judge Reggie Walton, appointed by George W. Bush, declared in a ruling that your summary was, quote, distorted, unquote, and misleading, unquote, and that the court could not trust you. Further, Judge Walton stated your report was, quote, a calculated attempt to influence public disclosure about the Mueller report in favor of President Trump, unquote. This committee still does not have the unredacted Mueller report. America has still not seen the unredacted Mueller report. Your excuses for not releasing it because it had to do with ongoing cases no longer exist because those ongoing cases have been completed or commuted or finished. Other attorney generals work with this Judiciary Committee to see that the American public and that the Judiciary Committee had unredacted copies of that report. You have not. You've gone to court to stall it. This report needs to be given to this committee. In Michael Cohen, you've treated him differently than Michael Flynn and Roger Stone. In Michael Flynn, you've attempted to dismiss the charges, even after he twice pled guilty. And in Roger Stone, you went further. Mr. Barr, John Lewis said to us, if not me, who? If not now, when? That's why I introduced HRES 1032, which would require this committee to investigate your conduct as Attorney General and determine whether you should be impeached. That is my constitutional duty. I yield back the balance of my time.
They started playing this impeach Barr nonsense from the day he went out and gave his summary of the Mueller report, which it was 100% accurate. This was a political cudgel that they used for years to do all manner of obfuscation over the Trump administration. And I mean, if we could probably spend the rest of the show on just the things that this that were just said. But we'll break them down. Number one, you did worse for Roger Stone. So let's just take that one for a second. He's saying that it was worse for Attorney General Barr to say that the sentencing guidelines being offered by an absolutely corrupt group of partisan prosecutors was worse than having the Department of Justice move to drop the charges against somebody. If these were two apolitical people, what do you think would be worse? Fixing a sentencing guideline and sending someone to jail, or completely dropping the case? Like, it doesn't make any sense. In my world, I would be like, they're dropping the case against this guy. That's crazy. He's going to walk away scot-free. They don't even know what they're arguing about anymore. They have no idea what they're even talking about. They have no clue. Then we have Michael Cohen. I think we talked about this on Tuesday, how Michael Cohen became a tool of the left to attack President Trump. So of course they're going to hold Michael Cohen up. Michael Cohen broke all the rules when he was out. And he broke all the rules. There's no rules anymore. There are no rules anymore. Ever. Anywhere. Then we've got the Mueller report is being, you don't need anything else in the Mueller report. I like when they redact more stuff because I find more things to support the theory that this was a huge, corrupt, disgusting coup attempt, which we all know now, against a presidential candidate and then a sitting president. I can't even. It gets so frustrating. Let's go to clip 2 on. In clip 2, we're going to hear about John Durham, and I'm kind of going to weave these two things together. We're going to hear they're asking him about whether or not he's going to release the Durham report.
That is what I will tell them, Mr.
In our
Barr.
system,
Thank you. And one last question, if I can.
in our system,
Under oath, do you commit to not releasing any report by Mr. Durham before the November election?
no,
You don't commit to that?
no.
So you
I will
won't
be
go
very
by
careful.
Department of Justice policy
I know
that,
Justice
that you
Department
won't
policy.
interfere in any political investigations before the November election?
We're not going to interfere. In fact, I've made it clear I'm not going to tolerate
But
it.
under oath, you're saying that you do not commit to not releasing a report by Durham?
I'm not going to. Any report will be, in my judgment, not one that is covered by the policy and would disrupt the election.
The time of the general.
I've already made it clear that neither
You would go
candidate
against
is
your
under.
own Department of Justice policy, Mr. Barr.
Why don't you tell me what that policy
Oh, I have
is?
it right here.
Well, actually,
Do you want me to repeat it for you?
no, I know what the policy is.
Time of
Yeah.
the time of the
Okay.
gentlelady.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you. I yield
go ahead,
back.
Chairman.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gentlelady.
Point of order,
Gentlelady
Mr.
yields
Chairman.
back. For what purpose does the gentleman seek?
Is it permissible for a member of this committee to accuse the sitting Attorney General of the United States of murder? Because that's what we just heard. Those words need to be struck from this record. This is outrageous.
The members control the time.
Mr. Chairman.
To say
Mr.
whatever they want? What about
Chairman.
rules of decorum?
Mr. Chairman.
Escobar,
Mr. Chairman, I actually have a clarification. Mr. Chairman.
Escobar.
Mr. No, this, I just,
You could
Escobar
stop
is
it now. I
Thank
can't
you,
take
Mr.
it.
Chairman.
I can't take it, Juan. I can't. It's like a bunch
I'll
of
take
high
my
school
back.
kids.
What is it? I reclaim my time.
I reclaim my time. That's right. Very good. I reclaim my time, guys. Ay, ay, ay. So what she's doing is she's admitting that she knows that people on her side, I'm not going to say left or right because it's both at this point, are guilty of things. And she doesn't want that to come out before the election because if it does, people may not vote for them anymore. That's exactly what she just admitted, even though she was trying to make it like it was some kind of a political witch hunt. And again, Attorney General Barr has said over and over and over again, I am not investigating. We're not investigating anybody who's running for office. So how could it be political? They're not investigating Joe Biden. They should be, but they're not. Joe Biden, oh my goodness, I can't even with Joe Biden lately. Did you see how they were escorting him out of that diner or wherever he was?
Oh my goodness, yes. That was very embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sad.
Yes, it is sad. And I shouldn't feel bad for him, but I do. We're coming up on a commercial in a minute, aren't we?
Yes, we only have about 1 minute and 40 seconds.
1 minute and 40 seconds, like on the Midas Man, or what was it? The guy who used to do the micro machines. Was that what they were called? The little cars, and he talked really fast.
Yes. Yes.
So they're really, for the next minute, I'll tell you about this. They're really afraid of this Durham. It's not going to be a report. You know, Attorney General Barr has said over and over again, there's not going to be a report here. This is going to be actually indictments. And if there needs to be some kind of summary or something written, then fine, so be it. But no report is coming out. So I don't understand why all these people think that speaking a report into existence is going to absolve them from any wrongdoing that they've done. And I'm really confused as to why all the Democrat Congress people and senators are so worried about this, quote, report coming out before the election. And I'm proud of Bill Barr for being so stalwart. He's being so strong. I mean, can you imagine Jeff Sessions up there like that? I don't think he could take it.
Nope.
I really don't. He's a poor guy. Kind of feel bad for Sessions. Everybody out there, there's 50-50 on him. Some people don't like him. Some people, I think he's the one who appointed John Durham. He's the first one. He appointed John Durham to look at the leaks going on in you know, from all these guys. He was investigating James Baker, former general counsel. So 1 minute and 40 seconds is a long time when you're looking at the clock. Up. We will catch you right after the break, guys.
This is UncoverDC with Tracy Beanz on WSMN, AM 1590 and FM 95.3.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
You're listening to UncoverDC with Tracy Beanz.
We are back. We're back. Short little break. Take a breath, shake it off, walk around a little bit, and get right back into the show. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. Again, you guys can listen, share the show. It's on YouTube. It's on Periscope. It's on UncoverDC.com, Facebook, Clout Hub, WSMN.live. Goodness, it's everywhere. It's on rightamericamedia.com. And you're listening to it right now from somewhere, so tell your friends.
It is also on Facebook.
Oh, yes, Facebook. Yeah, I have it. And D Live.
Yes.
As well.
It is live on Facebook, too.
And you know what? It's on every platform, even ones that don't censor. So it'll also go to BitChute as soon as it's done on YouTube.
Awesome.
Yeah. Get rid of that, suckers. You never know these days. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like completely blind. I'm walking around with my hands in front of my face. Like, what's going to happen next?
No,
I don't know.
it is amazing about the censorship. I'm going to tell you a quick story. You know, Savvy, you were on Savvy's show the other day, and right after the show, she made a quick video, about a 1-minute video about the doctors, and she put it up on Facebook and YouTube, and it got taken down within minutes. And she wasn't even showing the video. She was just talking about the doctors.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. We published a piece today on UncoverDC about the targeting of that doctor by Celia Farber. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's an amazing journalist, did a lot of work during the HIV epidemic. You know, she started covering that. She's won awards for it. And she's seen this before. So she wrote an opinion piece for us today that was really incredibly powerful. You could find it at uncoverdc.com. It's called The Targeting of Dr. Emmanuel. Just saying that word now could get you banned from social. They've done this before. They did this after Vegas. They did this where you can't say certain words, otherwise you're just automatically banned. It's terrifying.
But isn't it ridiculous about the big tech yesterday, though? Saying, like, what was it? Zuckerberg saying, well, it's not our job to determine what truth is or what's not.
No, they just hire people to do it that are completely biased.
Exactly.
I mean, when you're the arbiter of truth, anything that you want to happen can happen. And, they're gaslighting the American public. And the American public is wise to it now. I was having a conversation with a family member the other day, and I said, if there were a drug out there that could treat a disease or a sickness, and you were really getting sick, and the doctor said there's really no side effects to this drug at all, but it's got, and this is less than what it is, but it's got like a 50% chance that it can cure you in a couple days. Would you take it?
But of course.
Right. So why not? And then there's all these people, I see them on Twitter, they come out and say, oh, I'm glad that this is being censored because, we don't want to have, this is dangerous. We don't want these doctors to be allowed to prescribe this drug. Who are you? Who are you, random lefty on Twitter, to come and tell other people what drugs they can and can't take and what their relationship with their doctor should be? I mean, who do these people think they are? What the gall of this? Like, who do you think you are what about my body, my choice? I mean, if we want to go with that, we might as well just go with it. Right? That's my thought anyway. And then, the craziest thing happened yesterday. A good friend of mine, Sharon, works for UncoverDC. She's our staff writer. I'm finding the thread right now on the fly, so bear with me. She was at she got a call from the pharmacy. I'm going to try and find this. She tweets a lot, so wish me luck. But she got a call from the pharmacy, and basically what happened is she has asthma medicine, and she takes an inhaler, and they called to tell her there's a better medication that they're going to start giving her. And she was like, well, who gave you the right to prescribe me medicine? And it was this big mess where the pharmacy decided arbitrarily to put her on a daily asthma medicine that her doctor didn't prescribe. And it's really, really terrifying. I actually want to read the thread to you if I can ever find it. It wasn't in my plan. And this is what happens when we kind of go off kilter. But it was really kind of scary to read that this pharmacy, first of all, said that they had permission to do this. The doctor said it's been happening a lot lately where pharmacies are stepping in to sort of take control of what pharmaceuticals are being dispersed to their patients. Now, I get it. If the pharmacy has all of your medications that you're on, it has every single one that you're taking, right? Electronically, if you fill at that pharmacy all the time, it has your medical health record. So they know if a doctor that you saw for another condition prescribes something to you that's going to interact with something you're already taking, the pharmacy is like the front line of defense to stop you from taking a toxic combination of medicines that's going to kill you. So I get that part of it. But they shouldn't be able to prescribe new medicine to you. Oh, by the way, we're giving you this new medicine. Thank you. Sharon just texted it to me. It's so funny. She knows that I'm on the show. She's listening. So she sent me the thread. She says this. I had a very unsettling conversation with my pharmacy today. I received a text message from my pharmacy notifying me that my prescription was not able to be filled because my doctor declined it. I didn't send in for a refill, nor do I have my medication on autofill. So I contacted the pharmacy to see if it was a mistake, and they informed me that they contact my doctor to write a prescription for me that would better control my asthma. She goes, I said, since when does my pharmacy contact my doctor about my medical condition, which is controlled very well with my rescue inhaler that I seldomly use? She said she only uses it like during allergy season, but a little more now that they're forced to wear masks. She needs it more. The pharmacy said they felt that this other medication would be better. So I said, meaning Sharon, who gave you permission to discuss my health conditions with my doctor without my knowledge or permission? She says it seems like a HIPAA violation. She called her doctor's office, talked to her medical assistant there, and according to the medical assistant, the pharmacy sent a letter saying that she had given them permission to contact the doctor regarding the asthma medication, which she never did. And the doctor, the medical assistant's now sending her a copy of that letter. It's absolutely insane to me. She uses the inhaler only when necessary. The medication they were pushing is a daily medication that's more expensive and she doesn't need. So Walgreens and CVS apparently are doing this a lot now. Juan, what do you think about that?
So I remember when my father used to be able to walk and he was younger, you know, he liked to go to the pharmacist and say, I got a little bit of pain. Could you give me something for this? And they used to say, no, you got to go to the doctor first. So now we can bypass the doctors and just go straight to the pharmacist? Because it seems like that's what they're doing now. They have taken over the doctor's job.
Yeah, and they're basically empowering pharmacies to decide what drugs doctors are allowed to give their patients. That's terrifying.
Yes.
Now, listen, I'm not knocking pharmacists. They're very well trained, very well educated people. They have to go through a lot of school to be a pharmacist. However, they're not seeing the patient. They're not sitting there. They don't have that relationship. It's one of the most sacred relationships, trusted relationships there are. Pretty terrifying. Anyway, we kind of jumped around a little. I want to just quickly go back to Barr because I want to show the hypocrisy real quick of this. So all day long, we heard everybody yelling and screaming at Barr and not allowing him to speak at all. And the last clip I want to play is of Representative Madeline Dean on, I think it was MSNBC. Am I correct on that one?
I believe it is the last clip.
Clip 4, yeah.
Yeah, it is MSNBC.
How did I know? It's MSNBC. We'll play it now.
Clip 4 or clip 3?
Clip 4. Skipping 3.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
I'm messing things up all over the place. Just throwing papers in the air.
Truths and the falsehoods and hold him accountable.
What does holding him accountable look like, though? Are there any actual consequences?
We have many options for consequences. What I want people to know is we actually have to hold him accountable to the American people. You saw his affect yesterday. He was disrespectful, spoke over top of every one of us. In particular, he spoke over women. He was flanked by at least 10 staffers, not a person of color among them. And he couldn't identify that we have systemic racism in this country. Maybe that's because he's living in a bubble. I just have to tell you, it was so disrespectful. The way he approached Congress, the way he approached our committee, his willingness to say one thing and in a single statement flip his own answer. He did that with me. When I said, do you believe it's ever appropriate to use pepper balls against protesters, he said, no. And then he wanted to flip back and he said, well, wait a second. Well, rioters, yes. He could not keep a straight answer.
The absolute hypocrisy of what we just listened to, it just blew my mind. He talked over everybody. He couldn't keep an answer straight. He was rude. He's apparently also racist and misogynist. I don't know what else they could possibly throw at the guy, but that's a nice nightcap on the top of this entire fiasco of a hearing from the other day.
I'm sorry. I think I just threw up in my mouth, but listen to that.
I mean, what world do these people live in? Really? Juan. Take a sip of water.
Not yeah. I had to swallow that back up. Oh my goodness, that was unbelievable.
It's really crazy. And it kind of leads into the next sort of bunch of things to talk about today, which we're going to start here with John Brennan. So this is interesting, and I want to get into it a little bit here. John Brennan, piece in the Washington Examiner today. They're asking me to take a spin on their website. Okay. John Brennan blocked from accessing classified information. This is by Jerry Dunleavy of the Washington Examiner. Piece today, former CIA Director John Brennan, a vocal critic of President Trump, found out he'd been blocked from accessing his classified notes and records while working on his new memoir. John Brennan is working on a memoir. That's how they say it. John Brennan would be like, it's a corpus of intelligence behind the memoir. That's what he says, corpus of intelligence. He's a communist, admittedly so. His book is called Undaunted, My Fight Against America's Enemies at Home and Abroad. He said that after months of haggling, he discovered that the CIA was abiding by the directive Trump gave in August 2018 that purportedly forbids anyone in the intelligence community from sharing classified information with me. Now, it's interesting because he's going back in time to get his classified notes. They're classified because he wrote them. He's going back in time to get those notes for his, quote, book. And somebody really wise had reached out to me on Patreon and sent me an email I have to still respond to, by the way, Keith, that said, I think now after seeing that, Peter Strzok is starting to write his book too. Everybody's got a book. So they're saying that they're going back and they're writing these books to try to be able to access the information that they couldn't get their hands on before. So because they're writing a book, they can go back and ask for certain bits of information. I think that that's a really awesome theory that could actually be true. Like all of these people, where's Lisa Page's book? I'm waiting for that one. It's Weissman has one, Comey had one, McCabe, I don't know if McCabe's got one going. Now, John Brennan, we have, what's his name? Peter Strzok writing one. They need money for it's like there's been some threads that have gone around that prove that these publishing houses are sort of like laundering money around and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But John Brennan is now writing a book. So now he can go on his little book tour and he can try and grab classified information from the CIA. But I want everybody to kind of rest assured because people were really, really worried that these people still had access to their classified information. They still had their clearance. And apparently, as per Brennan, that's not true. Now, the fact that he came out and said that makes me think he's trying to tell others, guys, I can't get this stuff anymore. Watch out. I think we're getting there. We're getting there. And because we're getting there, we have a whole bunch of other stuff festering up around. There's this controversy in the HPSI, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence right now, about with Adam Schiff, Nunes, all the people that do good work. Yesterday, Sean Davis came out with a column. It says this, quote, ahead of the election, Adam Schiff tries to kickstart yet another Russian interference operation. So he says, with the November elections just 3 months away, Adam Schiff is once again assisting and amplifying a foreign influence operation meant to divide Congress and the American people, multiple lawmakers told the Federalist on Wednesday. This is what it was. He called a surprise hearing of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence to vote on making Schiff's classified allegations against congressional Republicans available for review in the entire House of Representatives. So there was a packet of information that was allegedly sent to several Republican committee members by a Ukrainian politician, Derkach. He graduated from an academy that happens to train Russian intelligence agents, okay? They wanted to start an organization in Ukraine to stop corruption called Friends of Ukraine Stop Corruption. So he took this packet of information, this guy, and he forwarded it to several Republican lawmakers and several Democrats as well. This is all as per Sean Davis for the Federalist. And a HPSI official told Sean that the Republicans have strict procedures that they put in place for sort of looking at this stuff and looking at suspicious packages or information from foreign sources. And there's a standard operating procedure to give it to authorities without opening it or looking at it. However, Schiff is apparently trying to make this, they don't want anybody to figure out what the heck is going on in Ukraine. This is from the beginning, from impeachment. They don't want anyone to know what's going on with Ukraine. That's kind of one of the reasons why Ukraine impeachment was given to Schiff. Remember Nadler had a trial run at impeachment with the Mueller thing, Juan?
Yes.
They ran Nadler through with the Mueller thing. He led the Mueller hearings and didn't do a very good job. I don't know if he stayed awake the whole time or whether he was sleeping or not. I'm not sure. But now they shifted it over to HIPSI, which is the committee that Devin Nunes, Rep. Nunes, used to chair. Very important committee. They shifted it over to him, and impeachment's never been run out of Schiff's or out of HIPSI before. So it's like, and all of these people in all of these scandals, they're involved in everything. Fiona Hill, Taylor, Kramer, all of them are all involved with Ukraine. Victoria Nuland involved with Ukraine, and Brookings and the Atlantic Council. All of these people, they're all connected together, and they all have nonsense they're hiding in Ukraine. So it all ends up coming back. Now, Schiff was during impeachment. Schiff actually went over there. There was and there's all kinds of stuff we can talk about with impeachment. We could talk about oh goodness, let's not, because I won't have enough time to get into it. So let's just focus here. So Schiff, Ukraine thing coming up again. Somebody wanting to stop criminal sort of activity in Ukraine. Whether their motivations are pure or not doesn't really matter at this point, because the Republicans apparently didn't even have possession of this. But Schiff wants to provide the entire House. Now remember, Schiff doxed John Solomon, spied on reporters, spied on sitting members of the committee and Devin Nunes. All of this was done under Schiff during impeachment. He actually was brazen enough to release those records publicly. I think that was a mistake, to be honest, but there's that. And so at issue is a packet of information sent to these Republicans, and he wants to vote. Well, they voted on party lines to make that the allegations that he had raised against these Republicans public to the full House. So they leak. And there's, in this article, they talk about how Schiff has done nothing but leak classified information. I don't understand why this man is still in his position. It's a great article. It's called Ahead of the Election, Adam Schiff Tries to Kickstart Yet Another Russian Interference Operation. And, excuse me, there's another piece that came out today as well, kind of countering this. The GOP mulls ethics charges against Schiff ally. House GOP leaders are considering pursuing ethics charges against Democrat Representative Sean Patrick Maloney. Now, he's a Schiff ally. There's this great picture. It's a Breitbart piece. Great picture of Adam Schiff with his black mask on. Do you see this one? Did you take a look at this?
I did. Yep.
Isn't that a great picture of Schiff?
No doubt about it.
So he's there. He's standing there. Big picture. House GOP leaders are considering pursuing ethics charges against Democrat Rep. Sean Patrick Maloney for alleged misconduct he engaged in against Devin Nunes at an Intelligence Committee meeting on Wednesday morning. So now you're starting to see the fight percolate here, that there is something going on behind the scenes in the HIPSI, and it is about to bubble to the surface, and it's a war of back and forth. What is really happening here? So Schiff wants to declassify some kind of concocted charges he has against these Republican members, and now the Republicans are mulling over ethics charges for how one of Schiff's allies are treating them. He was very rude, says Rick Crawford from Arizona or Arkansas. He told Breitbart News on Wednesday evening that Maloney's behavior towards Nunes and others during the committee meeting earlier in the day was rude. Members don't question other members in hearings. This wasn't on the agenda. It was inappropriate and pretty childish. What I wouldn't have given to be a fly on that wall. There are rules of decorum in the House that make it so you're not allowed to, you shouldn't act in a way that's unbecoming of your position. You can't call other congresspeople a liar. You can't hurl insults at them. You can't say things that are not true. during the impeachment hearing, I cannot even count the number of lies that were read into the record in that hearing. In insanity, there were so many lies told during that hearing that we were just sitting there looking at each other like, my goodness, we're in upside down. We're in the upside down. Do you watch Stranger Things, Juan?
I don't. My kids do, but I don't. Don't have time.
Well, I know you're flying the friendly skies. You're right. I forgot.
Oh, not only that, doing all this stuff, you know.
You're amazing.
No,
like,
hey, just stop it right there. Don't go there. But thank you.
You're horrible, Juan.
No, you know, I just start turning, you know, my bald head start turning red, and it's not a pretty sight. I get embarrassed.
You're wearing a mask, right? So nobody can see your face.
A mask? What is it? I need a mask. I need the goggles, and soon kind of a
suit.
It's the suit, the hazmat suit.
Yeah. So we'll leave that there for now, and we'll finish with this. A little good news for everybody. There are always these ethics violations and sort of finance violation threats and all kinds of stuff being thrown around by the sort of not-for-profits and watchdog organizations on the left. On the right, we don't hear about them all that often, but we know right off the top of our head, we've got Judicial Watch. We have, see, I can't think of another one. We have, hold on, the office, Americans for Public Trust. That's what I was trying to remember. So Americans for Public Trust actually filed ethics complaints for misusing campaign funds and soliciting financial contributions on 3 Judiciary Committee Democrats. Madeline Dean, we just heard her in that clip saying that Barr is absolutely horrible and misogynist and racist. Jayapal, who we heard, I'm losing my temper. It is my time and I control it. That was her the other day. And Lucy McBath of Georgia. So the nonprofit watchdog group Americans for Public Trust filed complaints with the Office of Congressional Ethics. And if you remember, this is what they did to Devin Nunes, not this group. But Devin Nunes came under ethics complaints back in the day when he was just doing the Spygate investigation in the HIPSI, and he had to step aside to let them investigate all that stuff before he could take back over. And they use that, the left uses this as a cudgel against Republicans trying to do the right thing. But these 3 people, like McBath, allegedly accepted millions of dollars in illegal campaign contributions from Everytown Gun Safety Action Fund while she was still a spokesperson. That organization is largely financed by Bloomberg. And then Dean is accused of using funds from her suspended lieutenant governor campaign in Pennsylvania for her congressional campaign, which is not allowed. And Jayapal is accused of violating a House rule which stops you from being able to broadcast coverage of official House business to promote her own bill. And she's also accused of soliciting funds to support her own legislation. And we also know that Ilhan Omar is under investigation for campaign finance violations. I think she's paid, gosh, I don't remember how many tens of millions of dollars at this point to her boyfriend, her boyfriend. She was dating or married to dating her brother, then divorced her husband and is now with her campaign manager, consultant person. Right?
Yeah, that's very confusing.
It's a love triangle like none we've ever seen before. It really is. So now these complaints are going to have to be investigated and looked into. And this article is really, really well done. And it's just funny that Dean was just, getting very vocal herself about all of this stuff going on. So we're almost at the end of the show. We've got a couple minutes left, I think, 1 or 2 minutes, Juan?
You have Math in Public. That will be about 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
2 minutes and 20 seconds. All right. So let me just talk about real quick how you guys can support the show and what we're going to be doing. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock, Juan and I are going to be sitting here having a little chat occasionally about the things that are going on around us in the world. There are going to be some episodes where I get really in depth about stuff and detail something for an entire hour. We will have guests on the show. We will have call-in sessions on the show where you guys can call in and talk to us and kind of vent your mind, it will be on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 PM, FM. It will be on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Clout Hub and WriteAmericaMedia.com and on DLive, and it'll stream across everywhere. You could also find it on UncoverDC.com. Make sure you check out the podcast, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Dark to Light with Frank and Beans on every podcasting platform you can find. And also make sure you support Uncover DC, where we're doing actual journalism. You can go to UncoverDC.com and click on support to send us a little financial help. You can also follow us on Twitter at UncoverDC, or you can follow me on Twitter at Tracy Beanz with a Z at the end. And there's a lot of really amazing, fun stuff coming out. Did we have a better show than Monday or Tuesday, Juan?
Well, your Tuesday show was amazing. So the bar was pretty high, but yeah, this is awesome.
Woohoo! We did it again. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next Tuesday on Uncover DC with Tracy Beanz.
For hardworking Americans, Uncover DC with Tracy Beanz on WSMN, AM 1590 and FM 95.3.